Remi, hey, so congratulations for His House on Netflix.
Thank you.
So tell me where the original idea came from for this unique horror story.
Um, so while I was doing, oh yeah, for cat. Sorry. While I was doing, while I was making, so I began as Konoan making commercials and content and whatnot. And at the production company I signed at the offices, there was two producers, and every time I went in, we used to talk about films and how I wanted to make feature films one day. And one day they told me that they had a project. They were developing a horror film based on the immigrant experience, but they were at a point where they weren't quite getting what they wanted from the writers they had at the moment, and whether I wanted to pitch them my take. And so I went away and developed the story that's in the film today, which is I guess a psychological exploration between two characters and how they survive after surviving, I guess.
Hmm. So how did you want to approach a project like this? Because not only is it psychological, but you also had this like the supernatural, horror feel to this. I mean, you had to balance all that out.
Yeah, um, totally. It was definitely something that throughout the making of, it was always a question of how much how much it should be one thing, how much horror should it be, how of a social drama should it be. And it was something that I guess just developed naturally throughout the making until we got to a place where, as the film is today, that's kind of where we felt right.
Tell us more about this night witch called Apeth. Is that based on anything, or was that just original creation by you folks?
No, so a big part of this film is about culture clashes and a culture clash between two characters from South Sudan moving to the UK, and a lot of the stories that Rial is talking about is real life South Sudanese folklore and stories. So the Apeth and the Night Witch is old South Sudanese stories, specifically from the Dinka tribe in South Sudan. And some of the stories, they will tell each other or tell their kids.
So, so how did you want to basically develop the look of this night witch? Because he kind of looks humanoid, but yet not humanoid at the same time.
Totally. Totally. We wanted to be this almost unborn thing, or newly born, so feeling quite I guess feeling quite fetal in a way, that it's kind of this just presence that's neither one thing or another.
So in the real legend of this for the Sudanese, what does the Apeth Night Witch actually does? That's different than what's portrayed in your movie.
So a part of it is the Night Witch is someone who would often curse members of your family or people in your village. And I think it's often like these stories, and it's the same throughout the world, I think, which is what's really crazy about myths and legends, is that they share so much DNA no matter where in the world you are. And a lot of the times, it's people who get cursed by them. It's usually due to quite moral reasons, like whether you've done you've upset someone, or you've hurt someone, or maybe you're a thief, or it's usually tied to quite strong like ethical or moral reasoning, which plays into the film.
Absolutely. The one thing I loved about this film, about his house, is the apartment house itself is a character in the film. Could you talk about the apartment itself? Was that a set, or did you actually use an apartment to destroy?
So to destroy. So we shot in Tilbury, which is an estate, which is a community in Essex, which is north southeast of England, and within that estate, Tilbury, we used one of the houses as a base for the house in the film, and so we shot there on location for a week, and then we recreated the house in a soundstage in southwest London, and we destroyed that, not the real house.
What was it difficult to film in something like this? Because I'm assuming for a destruction of a set or a house, it's not filmed in order. So you may actually have to destroy it and then rebuild it back and forth.
Yeah, except to destroy something and to put it back, it's potentially quite expensive. So I think it was quite important to us to try and keep to the order as much as possible. Often, or sometimes we were unable to, but generally we try to keep the same kind of order because the house gradually goes through certain transformations. You kind of have to stick to an order, or else we'll be always relieving roles, putting back roles, and whatnot. So, and it also helps the actors to have as linear order as possible.
Now, what about the dream state sequences? Where because you had to create sort of like an ocean sequence where your actors actually have to be at. Could you talk about more about that?
Yeah, we created I guess like a paddling pool in middle of one studio space. So it was almost like the size of, imagine a small airline hangar, but then the floor was a shallow pool, and then we inserted the wall of the kitchen in the middle of the shallow pool, and we matched the shot. So we matched the shot inside the pool with the shot inside the kitchen, so that it would always feel. What was quite important to us was for it not to feel like for it not to feel like a transition, that it felt quite like almost accidental that we're still shooting a shot. It just so happens to have moved into a different location, but very, I guess, very unfussy, almost like, it was done by accident.
I think it was portrayed very well in the film. Let's talk about your cast. Tell us why Soap and Wunmi were perfect for the roles.
They were perfect because they're both such brilliant actors. And not just brilliant actors, they're just like such nice people to be with that it was always a pleasure to be working with them. And not just them, but, and I've said this a few times, but I feel particularly lucky that I was able to work with a crew that we all just got on so well, and we all really wanted to make the same film, and it didn't feel like work. It was an absolute pleasure to work with the team. I kind of miss them.
Did your actors actually speak Sudanese in the film, or did they actually have to learn?
They had to learn, so neither of them could speak Dinka, so we they had to learn it, and we had South Sudanese. Um, we had sorry, the word lost me. Hang on a second. So we had Moran. Sorry, I hate it when I lose the word. I swear my brain is like a sieve sometimes. Where just fall out and trying to pick them up again. So we had neither of the actors could speak South Sudanese, well, Dinka, and so we had someone on set all the time who could help them and could teach them not just the language but also guide them through certain specific, I guess, social and cultural things that was important for them to know and to understand.
Were the look of the dead in your film, was that also a cultural look that you tried to develop, or was that just try to develop a unique look for the film?
Yeah, I think it was about being so using references respectfully. So very much the look of the dead, we try to make sure they had a certain humanity and a distinctiveness to each character, so it doesn't feel just like they were just dead people, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I guess for a lot of fans, they'll be quite surprised when they watch this film and they'll see Matt Smith in the film. How did you manage to score him? I mean, he has a minor role, but it is quite a surprise that he's in a film like this.
Totally, I'm surprised too. He was I think he just really enjoyed the script and he liked what we were trying to do and he wanted to be involved. And he was great. I loved working with him.
Great. Well, let me wrap it up with one more thing. As some cities around the world are starting to open, here in the United States, movie production is starting to open. I don't know about there, across the pond where you are at, but how are you staying sane and creative as you're about to prepare to be back to work again?
I'm not staying sane. I'm losing my mind slowly, ever so surely. No, I'm reading a lot. I'm trying to go out, and I have a bike, as you can probably see. So I go cycling all the time. Yeah, that's what I do.
Excellent. Well, hey, Remi, hey, congratulations
Thanks, man.
On his house, and thank you for speaking to us with your horror movie, and good luck with your movie on Netflix.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure speaking to you.
Not a problem. Thank you. Bye now.